This, then, is an adventure that will take us deep into the past.
Part 1.
Okay.
We are recording.
We are recording.
Where are we?
So we are in, I guess you would call it the Technimatic hub.
Mm-hmm.
It's our studio, basically, and we're surrounded by lots of lovely equipment.
Uh-huh. I can see a packet of Yorkshire tea.
I class that is the equipment. And then lots of keyboards that we don't know how to use.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we've got a new EP. And it is the original Structures EP.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit of a different one because before Technimatic there was Technicolour and Komatic. And before that you and I used to make tunes as solo artists.
Yeah.
So we thought it would be fun to do that again. So we thought it would also be good to get together and play through a few old bangers.
Yeah.
Forgotten tunes.
Yeah.
We've even dug out some sketches which may get a run out at some point during this recording, and yeah, just give people a little sense of where we came from, I guess. Would that be right to say?
I think so. And I think it's because the idea behind the EP was always, like you say, you know, we've made music ourselves before we merged for a long time, and hopefully there's elements in those individual tunes that make up the EP where you can hear that thread within Technimatic as a thing. And what's also nice, we should probably point out, is that we haven't really planned any of this at all.
No.
So it's quite loose, but hopefully it will be fun to listen to. So
yeah. Should we play a tune?
Let's play a tune. What do you want to play? What are you thinking? Like an old Technicolour and Komatic tune?
No.
Oh,
I want to
okay.
hear a Komatic tune. I want to hear an early Komatic tune.
Right.
Okay.
Well, in which case then I'm gonna play the first tune that not technically the first tune I ever wrote, but the first tune that I was kind of put out and was cut to vinyl.
Okay.
Which for our sort of generation felt like if you had a tune cut to vinyl, that's a defining moment.
It was huge
as a release. So
yeah, okay.
I'm gonna cue that up. So
okay.
just
Andy is
give me a second.
He's moving over to the technical setup here.
Now I'm just gonna let this bed in.
Okay.
And then we'll discuss.
Yeah, just let this one run. Let people get inside it, and then we'll speak after.
Yeah.
Do you know what's interesting, actually?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard this tune before.
That's not possible.
Yeah, seriously, I
You've
don't.
never heard it?
Did you used to play it?
Oh, mate, I dined out on this for like... yeah.
Okay, maybe I've tried to sort of phase it out of my brain.
Wait for the drop, mate.
Ease off.
Hey, serious. So, yeah, so essentially, this came about because I woke up after quite a heavy night at someone's house, and they used to love listening to Six Music, and I didn't really know much about Six Music at this point, and Tenorsaw Ring the Alarm came on.
What year was this?
So we're talking, this would be probably about 2005-ish.
Okay.
And I remember listening to, and it was around a time where within drum and bass and jungle, the sort of remixing old ragga and dub tunes was like the sound. It was quite a big thing. And I remember hearing, I thought, God, that's already almost at D&B speed.
Yeah.
That would be a great tune to like turn into a D&B tune. And so literally that day I got home, chopped up the sample and then put a beat on it. And yeah, that's what it ended up becoming. And it was the first tune where I knew someone who knew Toby at New Urban. Toby being one half of Serial Killers, and he heard it, and he was massively into this sound at the time as well, still is really to a degree, and he said, look, I would love to put that out. So we just did like this really basic deal where he cut, I don't even know how many of these he cut on vinyl, and then I did this awful remix on the flip, which I'm not even, if you want to go and research it, well, it's basically Crockett's theme from Miami Vice.
Cheese!
Right? Not proud of it.
I think I have heard that one. Yeah.
So, you see, this is even worse. So you've heard you remember the Miami Vice remix, but not the...
Well, the Miami Vice remix, you say what you want about it, but it is very memorable. It is very memorable.
So anyway, so we put it out, and it was the first time that I ever walked into a record shop and saw a white label with my name on it.
Amazing.
And it still is amazing. You know, I've got the white label on the shelf here, and it just felt like everything was possible. Everything was starting.
Yeah.
And it was amazing, man.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
That first, I mean, it's the transference from just an idea in your head to a physical thing.
Yeah.
It's such a huge step. Well, I've got to say, I actually really enjoyed that, and actually it does go off.
Well,
still,
if you want it for gigs,
is it available to download or stream? Well,
the question you have to ask yourself is, are you exclusive enough? Is it on streaming? There's probably a whole legality of sample clearance issue on that.
Well, I mean, yeah, we probably shouldn't get into the whole sampling thing in this recording because that's a hornet's nest. Shall I play a tune?
You play a tune.
Okay. What am I going to play? All right, I'm gonna follow you. I'm going to play pretty much one of the first tunes I made. I think I was looking last night as we were going through these things, and I think it's from 2003.
Right.
October, I believe the file said. And let me stick it on, and then I'll explain a little bit about it.
Before you hit play, what's it called?
Well, it's a remix of an Easy Rollers tune called Roadrunner.
Ah, okay. Right. So it's kind of a bootleg. No.
I'll get into it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, let's let this one breathe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, the story of this tune was on Drum and Bass Arena in around 2003.
Yeah.
There was a remix competition put up by the Easy Rollers. And I think the winner...
I remember this.
Yeah, the winner got to have their tune released as an actual tune.
Right.
And this was at a time where I had literally only got my computer about 6 months earlier and started trying to make music on it. And I had a copy of Cubase that a mate at work had given me and a CD of plugins. And I had absolutely no idea how to use any of it.
Amazing. Yeah.
So what I would do is I got the samples and I would just bring them all into Cubase and I would cut them up with the scissors tool because I didn't understand how MIDI worked or automation or anything. And I had a kind of...
This must have taken you ages.
Oh, mate, it was ridiculous. And I had a keyboard as well in my flat. But yeah, I didn't understand MIDI, so I would play a load of chords and record them and then chop those up with the scissors.
Right.
And then put it all together.
Yeah.
But what happened was I put this into the competition and it was nominated in the final 10.
Wow.
And it didn't win because there were actually some amazing tunes. But it did teach me, okay, the technical side of things, you can improve on that. But, you know, the ideas are there. You know, it actually gave me a real boost to think, okay, maybe this is something I can do.
So would you say that before the inception of this tune, you were like being a producer wasn't really something that was on your radar?
No, not at all.
So yeah, okay. You never sort of were looking at it as a I want to do that. It was just you were just kind of messing about and interested in that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Because before, like all the kind of jazzy chords and stuff at the start, because I used to be in a band before I made drum and bass, like a jazz funk band. So I was just basically bringing all that stuff and moving it over. And oh boy, sorry, got a technical problem with my headphone.
Oh, right.
I'm back. Yeah, just like parlaying all that into these ideas, and I never had any idea that it would turn out the way it did. But this was one of the first things where I thought, oh, do you know what? I reckon I
could probably do this.
I could have a little go at this.
So around that time, so we're talking now, like this is obviously 2003?
2003.
So presumably you were going to like raves and you were, you know...
Yeah. Because I was like you, I was like an old jungle kind of teenager.
Yeah.
And then I went to uni and that was around the turn of the century. And around that time, it was a combination of me having no money at uni and the fact that everything got very dark. It was very Ed Rush and Optical.
Oh yeah, Bad Company.
Kind of running things.
Yeah.
So I kind of phased out of D&B for a while, and then I got a first job when I moved to London at a magazine called Touch Magazine, which used to be based in Hoxton Square, opposite the Blue Note. Yeah. And they used to do hip hop and R&B and drum and bass and everything. And around 2001, 2002, these records started coming into the office, like Carlito and Addiction, and like early Caliber,
wicked,
and like Defunct and all the Fabio stuff. And I was like, what is this?
Yeah, totally
okay, this
sound.
is something new. I can get on board with this.
Yeah.
So I kind of dived back in. I mean, this tune is long though. Oh my god.
I mean, I'm looking at the counter there, and it's still got another 26 minutes. No, it is long, but again, this is sort of a sign of the times though, because having a tune that was, I mean, what is this? You know, jokes aside, what, 6.5 minutes?
No, it's 7.5 minutes.
Yeah, okay. So, but that's quite a normal.
Yeah, true.
A normal length of time for a tune around that period, really.
Let's listen to that second drop.
Yeah.
I mean, in many ways, it's exactly like the first drop.
But if you were chopping up samples with the scissor tool in Cubase, and I don't want to go too nerdy because there'll be people listening to this that don't, you know. I'm not surprised you just went, oh, fuck it,
just copy and paste that.
Copy and paste.
Life's too short.
Fucking bother with that. It's a nice tune though.
It's all right. It's all right. Yeah.
I think it's interesting you talking about a remix competition, because and I'm sure a lot of people that you know do know the story of us that are listening will know this already. But for those of you that don't, we met as a result of the Drum and Bass Arena production forum. Now, of course, at this time, when we were both actively kind of on that message board, it would have been around. Probably around, so it was around this sort of time, right? Like 2003, 2004, that kind of. And other people that were on there, like LSB was on there, Metric was on there,
Alex Perez.
Alex was on there.
One half of Mob Tactics.
Yeah. So we were all of that sort of same.
Phil Tangent.
Yeah. And we were in the production part. It was basically just a load of people that weren't really sure on what they were doing. Desperately trying to ask other people that weren't really sure what they were doing whether the road they were on was right, and what you know, and we were just sort of getting feedback from each other. And every Christmas, was it Sidious on that forum?
Yes.
He set up a secret Santa competition, which is a great idea, whereby you would have all the producers that were on the forum would package up samples of one of their tunes, and then you would receive a package of samples, but you'd have no idea whose samples they were,
correct,
and where, like where it came from. Nothing, no idea, literally. And it was always tunes that had never been purposely posted on the forum either. So it wasn't even like, oh, that was such and such a tune that he posted like 6 months ago. I recognise. You wouldn't have a clue. You'd have no idea, and you'd have to make something work and basically do a remix.
Yes.
So that segues nicely.
It does.
Into the first crossing of our paths.
Yeah.
And that was when I received a package of samples, which I thought I'd really lucked out on, because the samples were brilliant. I'm genuinely not saying that to blow smoke up your ass. They were like, because you're always hoping when in that Secret Santa you think, God, I get something that I can actually write something with here. I hope it's going to be, you know, because sometimes you don't get a vibe off anything. You can get a load of samples and think, no, I'm not going to be able to create anything with that. So I received this package of samples, and the samples happened to be from you. And I'm going to play what I did with it.
Yes.
So let's just do that.
The track is called Parsons Green.
It is.
Partly because at the time I lived near Parsons Green, and also one of the samples is by the Alan Parsons Project. There's a little bit of
nice
little bit of trivia.
He come around to see my point of view. He come around to see my point of view. He come around to see my point of view. He come around to see my point of view. He come around to see my point of view. He come around to see my point of view. He come around to see my point of view. He come around to see my point of view. He come around to see my point of view. He come around to see my point of view. He come around to see my point of view. He come around to see my point of view. He come around to see my point of view. He come around to see my point of view. He come around to see my point of view. He come around to see my point of view. He come around to see my point of view. He come around to see my point of view. He come around to see my point of view. He come around to see my point of view. He come around to see my point of view. He come around to see my point of view. He come around to see my point of view. He come around to see my point of view. He come around to see my point of view. He come He come around to see my point of view.
I tell you what, this still works.
Mate.
By the last breath of the four winds that blow, I'll have revenge upon By the last breath of the four winds that blow, I'll have revenge upon what you love. I'll in his face, I'll say don't let go.
I mean, it was mad though, because obviously receiving that to do the remix for, I didn't know they were your samples.
Well, technically, it's not really my music.
No, but you know what I mean. Like I couldn't have pinned that down and said, oh, those samples have come from Technicolour. Like I didn't know. And so, and it's mad because there's so much that you can hear in that remix that you can already hear like an early sort of forming of so your kind of sound palette then being fused with what, you can already hear that start of something,
100%. Yeah,
mad, isn't it?
I was always like, I remember getting this, like listening to this, and even like early doors, I was like, fuck man, Andy really knows how to make a tune sound good. How do I do that?
Yeah, I mean the tune itself is shit, but at least it sounds good.
No, but what you did was, because my original was kind of a bit plinky plonky and kind of very polite, and you, not just in the engineering, you created a much more intense experience, and that is definitely something we've carried on into Technimatic. It's trying to marry that musical side of things and kind of emotive side of things into something which still you can play in a club.
I think it's the code that we're still to this day trying to crack.
Yeah.
And you've absolutely summed up. It's that code of, okay, I want to make something that's a piece of music and I don't want to go endless cliches here, but like, really soulful, really grabs at your heartstrings, really kind of moves you. But it's still drum and bass music. So it needs to make a dance floor go off.
Yeah.
To a degree.
Yeah.
And it's how you get those things together.
Yeah.
That is the code. It's so hard.
And I think that's why we're probably quite a good duo, and we've done all right. In the tension between both of us is that I'm always trying to make things more polite, and you're always trying to make things more aggressive. And we somehow find a little middle ground, you know. So yeah, it's good. That still works. That is a good tune.
Well, I mean, we've used those drums on the last 3 albums.
When was that? What year was that?
Oh, mate, that must be. Do you know what? While we're talking, because we are actually sat in front of the studio computer, I can actually have a look and see what the date of that is. I'm going to call it and say I think it's probably around 2006-ish, maybe. Where are we? Parsons Green, Komatic. Yeah, so that's 12th of December 2006.
Amazing.
So this is obviously 3 years after your Easy Rollers remix, and 2 hours after my Ring the Alarm thing.
Drum and Bass Arena was amazing, wasn't it?
It was great.
It was, because it's hard to really imagine it, because you got to think at the time this was actually before social media as we know it today. There was no Facebook, there was no Twitter,
and even little things like WhatsApp. Like there was none of that. It was the only place that you could directly send a message to another producer without having their email address. It was the only way you could get in touch with somebody.
Yeah. So it was a place to get feedback and work on tunes, but also just hang out and do that kind of social media chat breeze kind of thing. I do miss it a little bit. There were some great days.
There was some very funny things on it, but I think you know, from our point of view, it was just mad how we ended up crossing paths and knowing each other without it really being a conscious thing.
Yeah.
It was just sort of happening.
Why don't we play a Technicolour and Komatic tune?
Yeah, come on then.
Have you got Innovision over there?
Of course.
Okay. Because this is, I mean, it makes sense. This is the kind of natural progression.
And I know where you're going to go with this. So let me cue it up.
Andrew is stepping over to the decks.
Is that you singing?
That is me, yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
We could have really done with Melodyne back then, couldn't we?
Even Melodyne wouldn't.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do.
Emergency loop, CDJ. So that is the first, you know, proper, as you say, the first tune that we officially kind of worked on together.
Yeah, because I'd sort of agreed a sort of deal with Technique Recordings in about 2007, something like that. And I was working on bits and bobs for them, and I was working on a track, and obviously we'd now got to know each other a bit through that remix and just being on Drum Bass Arena.
Well, just to reload a little bit on that as well, because this was obviously a message board where we all chatted, I remember you putting up a post and you said, I've signed to Technique Recordings, and you were the first producer out of like the crew that signed a deal.
Yeah.
To which we were all like, oh my God, oh my God, congratulations. It was really exciting, and we were like, amazing to see you be the first to sign. It was great.
you know, well, we can get into the story of Technique further on down the line. But yeah, I was working on this tune, which was scheduled for release, but I couldn't. There was something about it that I just couldn't quite get right. And I remember we were talking, and I told you, you know, I'm working on the tune. The vibes are kind of there, but it's just not really working. And you were like, well, you know, can I listen to it? And I sent you it, and you were like, well, you know, I reckon I've got a few ideas.
Yeah, I can sort this shit.
Yeah. And you did.
End of part 1.